Welcome back to Horse Racing. Today on Horse Racing Radar TV for all of the Horse Racing Today social sites, just to keep you as confused as possible, almost as if, though, Tom and I were making horse racing picks. Tom, it's been a busy week together. Pimlico yesterday. Of course, Pimlico is where all the action in the States is today, with the Black-Eyed Susan a little bit later on. You can head on over to Guaranteed Tip Sheet. Get your Black-Eyed Susan and all the Pimlico picks. We had a best bet, the 3-horse, win that first race. Of course, we also have our Preakness wagering guide, which includes all the stakes races over the weekend. And if you're looking for some free action today, that's going to be at Penn National tonight. There is a link in the description below. Thomas, when you look at did you look at the Pimlico card for today?
No, I've not had the opportunity. I've been watching Newbury racing this morning. Or try to get some idea of what may happen. And also there's some maiden races or novice races to run today. And usually some of those are indicators to a couple different things. And the more important one for us, of course, is Royal Ascot.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's a big one coming up in about, 1 month?
About 5 weeks away right now.
Well, 1 month from tomorrow. The first race is on June 18th. Tomorrow is May 18th. So we go 1 month to go, Thomas. And then we'll have our, of course, every day of the Royal Ascot. We'll get together, Thomas and I, and Daddy needs some new shoes and make our selections with a roll of dice.
We'll really drive ourselves crazy for the week. Yes, in the 5 horse fields.
Yeah, and 8 races. And, it's just, it's a lot of fun, though. One of these years, when we blow up and get big and become real media influencers on the internet, then maybe we'll go over there for a week. We'll dress up nice. We'll badger the prince and the princess and the king and all that kind of good stuff, and just give them a good taste of it.
No mooning.
What do they call us, the Americans, the rude Americans? What are we called overseas? Obnoxious Americans. I don't know what we are, but anyway, we're gonna that could be too. We're gonna take our obnoxiousness to Newbury. So you say you were watching some races today. What were your observations?
For the shorter races, they've been traveling on the near side rail for the most part. The longer races so far are we had a 1.25 mile race run, and they went up when they came down the stretch. And remember, these stretches are not like ours, which are most of them pretty short. Relative. I mean, you're going to have 3 furlongs left to run in a race, and even more in some tracks. So you got a ways to go before you get to that finish. And they tend to be running in the middle of the track today, where the best going is. And the winners have been generally more on the near side. So, and we did have one in one race, one of the maiden races or novice or whatever we'd like to call it. A 80 to 1 shot win.
Oh, right. So hopefully
there are some prices out there.
Oh, that's the great thing about that international racing. So you mentioned that they're going to go long. So the first one here is 1 mile and 4 furlongs, or 1.5 miles, as we call it in the United States of America. So 1 mile and 4 furlongs. They're going to start here. They're going to run up that hill, and then they'll come back down this turn, around that turn, and some slight undulations throughout that long stretch run.
Very much a rolling track. And it's open. And if you notice something, what are we doing here? We're going counterclockwise. So what is that? So I mean, clockwise. I mean, so it's an interesting when they run. You get to get some insight on how they're moving around and up and over, and backstretch. It's positioning. But with these younger horses, and a lot of them that haven't run before, it can be an education, to say the least.
Yeah, unquestionably. So at 1.5 miles, we have a pretty good size field here in this opening race at Newbury. This one's going to kick off at 8:50 a.m. Eastern, so keep an eye out for that if you're up early in the morning to build your bankroll off of the winners at Pimlico today to go into the Preakness tomorrow. See if Mystic Dan can get 2 legs of the Triple Crown in. I have my doubts, but we'll tackle that issue another time. So, Thomas, in race number 1 at Newbury for tomorrow, it's time to start tackling your picks.
Absolutely. We're going to start with number 8, Salt Bay with draw number 1. Nice run last out in a Group 3 race. It was at this track. He lost by a neck. He's done well in his other 2 races at Newbury. He only has 1 win in his life, but appears to be running very well lately, and that's why I put him on top. Last time he went off at 33-1. I don't think you're going to get that today. Next choice is going to be number 7, Middle Earth, with draw 5. Before the layoff, this horse won in October at Ascot in a listed race. He's tried higher company before and not had much success. But back here in this level, he seems to be competitive. And I think it's a good place for his return. And the odds, based on the odds right now, I'd say there are a lot of other people who happen to agree with that.
Seems like it.
Number 1, Boaster, is going to be my final choice. It's draw 3. Won its first start of the season at Pontefract in a Class 2 race and made all the running. So this horse is going to have to make a sensible pace because the draw is perfect for him, being coming out of the 3s to go make the lead. But I think that if he doesn't make a sensible pace, or he's going to get caught by the rest of these. So I'm just going to put him in to maybe hit the board, but not on the win side.
I'm going to start off with a horse that you like there too, Thomas. Middle Earth, and we have to note that you see here. I forgot to bring this up, but the track going is good, and I expect it'll probably be about the same.
It's good to soften places today.
All right. Well, they're expecting good tomorrow, so hopefully it gets better. In any case, Middle Earth, when the horse does get some good footing, it does some good racing with 2 wins and a second. One of the things I find that you have to consider when you're looking at turf racing overseas relative to the States, and you can let me know if you agree with this, Tom. We get a little bit of rain, and if it's not a stakes race, they go straight to the all-weather or the dirt track. Over there, they run on the grass no matter what's going on. Last year we saw them running in a swamp. Remember that?
Yes, there's some really awful conditions. But, we see a drop of rain, and the race gets moved.
Mm-hmm.
I understand they want to maintain their turf courses, but I also think at times they get ridiculous. And the closing year of Arlington, I thought they got really ridiculous because they were moving races off the turf. I'm like, you're closing. Why?
Yeah, what difference does it make, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, after the million was run, who cares?
Yeah, and what difference? I think it makes a big difference over there because they get the yielding, they get the heavy, they get the soft, they get the good. We don't get a whole lot of that there. So I like to pay somewhat more attention to that when I'm analyzing horses overseas than over here, because you're not going to get yielding or heavy or soft over here unless it is a big race.
The higher end stakes races, they would run. They'll move the non the allowance race or the claiming off. But those high end, if they do move them, they could lose could drop down in their grade status. So they generally leave them on the turf for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big deal because that has to do with breeding and lots of other little factors that mean extra money possibly.
And how they perform
if
too.
You get a horse that does run well on that, you may attract a little more European interest in the horse in terms of breeding.
Absolutely, because they run over there, and we don't, for the most part. Desert Hero will be running today too as the favorite over there. That's your most likely. Last time out, he ran at this level, just barely missed. Should be a little bit better, I hope, in its second start after a layoff. Most horses do improve in that. But when you look at that good footing again, I know he's going to be a big favorite in there, but not run so well. Maybe one that wants a little bit more to the soft than to the good. Maxi King is my third pick. That's a little bit of a long shot, Thomas. I think
it should be. It's coming up in class.
Yeah, it is coming up in class, but it also looks like
after spending
more than a year in a barn, coming back, I think, as a 4-year-old. I mean, this horse has just been, well, unbeatable so far.
A lot better.
Mm-hmm. And maybe the bettors just haven't caught on and made the connections right now. Even they may be surprised. And maybe as in basketball, when a guy comes out, he's making those 3-pointers from the logos, they just start chucking them up. This could be a heat check, but sometimes the heat checks go in. And if this heat check goes in, it's at 28-1, the longest shot in the field right now. And then finally, number 5, King of Conquest. That would have been me in my prior lives. You got the great combination of William Buick and Charles Appleby. Can almost never go wrong with that combination. And I'm expecting a good performance off this horse as well. And the second start after a layoff and its second try at Newbury, the first time around, it got a 3rd. And of course, today with the English racing, we have our best friend. And you mentioned yesterday the predictor did pretty good, Tom. So let's see what the predictor has in store for the opening race tomorrow, the Aston Park Stakes at Newbury. Boom. Desert Hero, the favorite. Salt Bay, Tom's top choice in there. Maxi King, my long shot in there, Tom. It looks like a nose between it and King of Conquest for the show position. So maybe we get a 3rd or a 2nd out of that guy at a big price. Possibly. That fattens up the payouts.
And also, this will be an interesting race to see if Desert Hero has got the stuff, or does he need a little more moisture in the ground to really prove himself. I'm going to say the ground is going to be a little too firm for him, or good firm, because it says soft in places right now. They're just about ready to run a race right now. It's a 1.25 mile race for the newbies.
And
so it'll be interesting to see the running of this race, I think. And we're not going to talk about race number 2, but I think we should run the predictor at the very least.
All right, well, let's go to race number 2 and run the predictor. So race number 2 tomorrow is the 6 furlong Highclere Castle Gin Carnarvon Stakes. It's a listed race, it's a class 1 for 3-year-olds. We don't have any picks, but the predictor, that's what the predictor does. And in this one, it says, boom, Relief Rally and Queen of Muggins. They should duke it out for 1st and 2nd. And then you have a quartet of horses that should be right behind them, from Action Point to James Delight to Room Service to Inish Fallen. Just looking at the odds, looks to me like just take Action Point, Inish Fallen, put them together in an exacta and hope they come 1-2. Call it a day. That's my kind of handicapping time.
Well, interestingly enough, of course, the horse I picked is nowhere to be found. I have Dawn Charger, Potlington, and Elite Status.
Well, you could put Queen of Muggins in there too. So you put the Queen in there, Inish Fallen in there, and Action Point.
That one at that price.
Yeah, you might not ever have to work again if those 3 come in 1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, you and I are going to go to work now, Thomas, on race number 3. That's next on our itinerary. This is the London Gold Cup Handicap. This one is 1 mile and 2 furlongs, or 1.25 miles in our world. At 1 mile and 1/4, you're going to start right here. You're going to come up. They got an extra 6 yards there, though, Thomas. That 6 yards is going to be the difference between who wins. I mean, you think about it. 6 yards really could be the difference between who wins and who doesn't win. Coming around, going through the rolling hills again to get to the finish line over there. It's a little bit shorter. Getting to that turn a little bit quicker. Getting to that turn quicker, Thomas, how does it impact the race?
And really the wide draws are the ones at the disadvantage on a little shorter race. So you do need to get your horse over and put into a position. We're now running on the far side rail for the finish, and we've got 2. Oh yeah, it's close. 3 horses right on the wire. So that gives you some idea. So we are running in various different places today, near side and far side, and the going seems to be really well. With that, I'm going to take number 2, Shanti, as my top choice. Has draw 12, so he'll definitely have to get over. After 4 races, finally won a race at Leopardstown, and it won by 4+ lengths. I mean, so it was actually doing very well there. I think adding more distance to this horse has been the key based on its past performances, and I think he's a stalker who is going to get there in time. I'm going to take number 6, Goodwood Odyssey, withdraw 13. Another one's going to have to get over. This horse is undefeated on the turf and ran 1 second on the all-weather. That should tell you something about the horse, and the odds will also tell you something about the horse. He's been running on the soft to good, good to soft. I mean, you know, the surface seems to absolutely suit him, and I think the distance is perfect. The number 9 horse is going to be my final choice, and I forgot to put the draw on it. It's 3. 3 or 2? Yeah, 3. One on the Brion. He won on the all-weather at Kempton, going a mile 2 starts back, and then ran a second to my second choice on this one, and did look pretty good. Overall, he's got 4 runs, and he's finished the money every time. So I think you got to think about that one. Since this is a restricted race for 3-year-olds, and it's Class 2. It'll be interesting to see.
I in this race, I'm going to go with number 14. Individualism. He's on the number 1 draw, Tom. 10-1. He started off at 20-1. So it looks like some of the English money, the punters, they knew I was about to come with this one. This one has not won yet. So there you go. It's a great one. But last time out, I think he was like 8-5, somewhere along those. So they're clearly expecting something from this horse, and it's one I think should, again, in the second start after a layoff, improve off the last one and maybe live up to the expectations of bettors. You like the Goodwood Odyssey? I like the Goodwood Odyssey too, Tom, as my second selection in here. This one's only run on the grass 2 times, Thomas. You know how many times he won?
2.
2 for 2. And he ran at the distance in one of those 2. And I guess if he's 2 for 2, and he's 1 for 1 at the distance, then, if that's how my math works correctly. Number 1.
Checked it, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of works out that way. Number 1, Black Run, is my third choice. Classic handicapping angle, third after a layoff. And here, Thomas, won 2 races. Both of them were when jockey Tom Marquand, probably pronounced that incorrectly, but that's so
you got it right.
All right, hey,
Yeah.
I got it right from once. 2 for 2 in 2 attempts with Tom Marquand. Guess who's riding today, Tom?
Tom Terrific.
Tom Terrific Marquand. There you go again. He's going to get roasted and then regret it afterwards. Number 12 is my last one, something I would never have qualified for. Prep school. Well, I'm going long shot galore in this race, Tom. If I come in with this trifecta, I'm going to call it a day. Forget the Preakness. Just going to take this money, count it, and maybe go off to the casino and see if I can triple it.
Yeah, that or find a slow NBA game to bet.
Yeah. Well, the one thing about NBA games and basketball games, I think you can bet those in-game, because what inevitably happens in every single game is one team goes on a run and then the other team goes on a run. So just wait for a team to go on like a 10-point or an 8-point or a 9-point, like uninterrupted scoring streak, and then just bet the other team. But in any case, prep school, this one has 1 race on good footing, and it won that race. And it won that race with by far its best performance. So hopefully the sun comes out, dries out the track a little bit, and we get another great performance from prep school. Let's see if the predictor predicts a great performance for any of the horses I pick, let alone prep school. On the bottom, Black Run looks like, I don't know. Once again, I am fooled by the predictor picture, Tom. You can't really see it because I have this guy there. I should take that off there. But if I'm looking at this, I'm thinking Fighter Command is farther up the track than Black Run. Is the predictor once again giving us a false photo?
I don't know.
Does it look like that to you too?
Yeah, looks like the photo finish camera needs a little work.
Yes, maybe the angle needs to be improved. There's a track here in the States that's like that too, where like the photos finishes look like nothing like what you see when you're watching the races. Let's move Do you know what track I'm talking about or no?
I have to think about that one. I don't. You're right. There are a couple where you watch it and you go, "What the heck?"
For some reason, Tampa comes to mind. Like I could be wrong on that, but perhaps
I've never really seen it at Tampa.
Yeah, I don't remember, but there's been a couple like when I've seen like when you're watching the race and then they show you the photo finish, you're like, that never happened. Next up for us is going to be race, right? Yeah, race number 4. It is the Al Shaqab Lockinge Stakes. I probably got that one wrong.
Lockinge Stake.
There we go. 5 times to get it right once.
Yeah, well, we all screwed it up.
Kind of like our pick.
The only thing to note about it, though, is it is a big race.
But it is part of the British Championship Series.
This is the big race at this meet at Newbury this time around.
So what are the British Championship Series races all about, Tom?
They're essentially, for part of it is for qualifying to run at Ascot at the end of the season. Also, these are the ones where a little more money is put into them.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at generally the best of the best in terms of British racing, and these are very attractive races overall.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is no exception.
And this is 1 mile. You see the STR. It only took me about 3 years to figure out if they're going to go straight or if they're going to turn. But they're going to go here 1 mile. They're going to just go up those rolling hills as if though it's a nice Saturday afternoon in the meadows.
Nice leisurely run,
Yeah, and there'll be nothing leisurely about it, especially as they come down the stretch. On the straightaway, Tom, are they parting the Red Seas today, or are they all just kind of trying to make their way to the finish line first?
No, they were all on the near side, making the running there. So we'll see.
All right, well, see if that holds up again tomorrow. Let's see. Who do you got to win this one?
I'm going to start with number 11 in Spiral. Draw 1 is my top choice. Some of you may remember she did win a race going over a mile last time out. That was the Breeders' Cup filly and mare turf race, and she was pretty impressive. Even more impressive was the horse that ran second, Warm Heart. Right, her next start was at Gulfstream in the Pegasus turf. And what did she do?
I'm guessing she won.
She won.
Because if she came to that last, we certainly wouldn't be talking about it.
No, we would not. She's also, but in the past, they've really felt that she's more effective at the mile. So is it because of the 2 turns or the way the race was run at Santa Anita? Because they go down the hillside course a little bit, hit over that dirt, and then go around. Or is she a longer horse? Well, she's definitely a miler. And she's been very effective at it.
Mm-hmm.
She's won off a layoff before in top company, so not a huge surprise there. Every once in a while, she does throw a stinker in. But I think the ultimate goal, as Gosden indicated, is the Breeders' Cup again. And so this is the start of her season. So we'll see where she ends up. Number 3, Sharian is going to be my next choice with draw 6. It's one of his first 2 starts of the year, and they were enlisted and then a Group 2 race, and they were both at 1 mile. With this one, I think maturity has made the difference because prior it was okay horse, not great. It's got good form, and I think the bettors like them, I feel like he's got a chance. And finally, I'm going to take the prohibitive favorite coming in from France, which is Big Rock. We'll be drawing number 9, and he crushed the field in his last race, to say the least, in the British Champions Day at 1 mile. But interesting enough, he lost to in Spiral at Deauville by a length and a quarter in a 1 mile race. Frankly, this horse may have been the best 3-year-old in France last year, except the problem was there was another horse by the name of Ace Impact who won the Arc, who went undefeated and has been retired. So this one's a very good horse, and he's going to run on the front end. So if he gets the trip, he may be the one. but
He may be the one.
That definitely short odds.
Well, I think those two horses that you mentioned, Inspiral and Big Rock, they're gonna be the ones that attract all of the money, Thomas. I wish I had that power. I have like the anti-power. Like I push it away. I repel it. But I'm going to go with one that maybe could get overlooked, and maybe you're going to get better odds than you probably should for this horse. But I'm going to go with the what's her name? Lady Gaga horse, Poker Face. This one's run at the distance 6 times, won 4 of them, 2 competitive close seconds in there. So clearly a miler, Thomas. Going to get 7-1 odds on that guy, and good chance to be better in the second off the layoff and maybe pull off the upset. And I think in any other situation, you wouldn't get 7-1 if it weren't for those other 2 horses in this field. And then I'm going to go with the next 2.
7-1.
No way you would, right?
There's no way he would get 7-1.
I think the other 2 horses, Inspiral and Big Rock, I mean, you can interchange either one of them, whichever order you like. But you did mention something that I saw in the past performances, and that's the Breeders' Cup winner did beat Big Rock when they matched up, right?
Yep.
Big concern for me, though, is Dettori is not riding on Inspiral today. In fact, he'll be riding in the Preakness tomorrow instead.
Right. He'll be on the card. I think he's got a couple other mounts too.
But the biggest one, of course, is to be the Preakness. I think he's actually on one of the horses that has a good shot to win if memory serves, but I could be wrong about that. But in any case,
he's won a few big races in his life, so I think
winning another one.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprising. But you can exchange either one of those 2. But I find like when you go through past performances over and over and over again, if horse A beats horse B, I mean, sometimes they flip, but more often than not, if one beats one, it means it's the better horse. And especially if they can do it on a consistent basis. One's not a consistent basis, but if he does it again tomorrow, that would be a consistent basis. And then I'm going to close it out with number 8. It's got to go for a long shot in here, as always, an Ocean Murphy and a Saeed bin Surur horse, 33-1. Typically not the kind of odds that you see on those horses. This horse has run a mile 8 times and has finished in the money 7 of those 8, and does have some experience at Newbury, where it's been across the track 2 times. And in those 2 efforts has a win and a second. So likes the distance, likes the track. I like the odds. Put them all together, and maybe it's one of those Tom horses but in the money to kind of fatten up the exacta or the trifecta or whatever type of bet you're making over there. A good chance to do that. I feel like a 33-1.
And of course, that is a good Godolphin horse,
which is another good indicator.
Yeah. Well, you always got to watch those in any race, especially at odds like that.
Yeah, 33-1. Why not? All right, let's see if he's got any chance for the predictor. Says Witch Hunter. Thomas, did either one of us mention Witch Hunter?
Nope.
And there you go. Well, that one's 50-1. What the hell? Play that one. That's a pretty big case.
You'll notice there's no Big Rock and there's no Inspiral.
Yes. You think that's because they ran in France, and then the other one, the last race was
ran in Europe. Ran in the States. Yeah, it's very possible.
That maybe that like puts a 0 in the algorithm that they haven't written in something into the program to like just take that race out.
Yeah,
that could be, which
very possible.
Which kind of scares me then about the reliability of the predictor, because if they can't make the basic things,
I want to see a 50-1 shot win, right?
Newbury picks race 1 and 2, Elite Service, race 3, Jouncey. Thank you, Race Masters. When you say draw position 9, I thought it was the 2 horse. They don't line them up like we do here. No. Like we line them up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? To match their jersey number, like in this case, number 5. And if you want to look as fantastic as I do right now in this number 5, if you go over to horseracingtoday.net, you'll see right there the mothership, where we will have our selections along with our comments a little bit later on today for everything Tom and I are talking about. If you hit on this HRT gear link, it's going to take you to the page over here, and you can get yourself some wonderful Horse Racing Today gear that will make you look fantastic at the track. So Big Rock is 9 or 2. Big Rock is going to be in that race. He's going to be, let me close this. He's going to be
Big Rock is the 2 horse, but his draw is number 9. So he's going to be on the well, of course, remember Trackmaster, this is straightaway. So it really will depend on how the going is. And of course, this is a horse who likes the front. So he is going to be out there winging it.
So to kind of put it into, apples to apples type scenario, it would be like if here, instead of the one horse leaving, or the two horse, in this case, Big Rock, leaving from the second post, he's still going to wear the two, but I don't know how they draw posts over. Do they just draw them randomly, Tom?
They draw them randomly, yeah.
So even though he's wearing the two, when they pull the number out of the hat,
when the declarations come out, then that's when the draw was done, right before the declarations come out.
So that's how it works. He's still number two, but he's just leaving from the 9 post. That's all. All right, so we got 2 races to go, Tom. That means we're going to go to race number 5. Is that right? Yeah, race number 5 tomorrow.
5. It's the one I've got next on my list.
And it is the World Pool Handicap at 11:10 a.m. Eastern, 4:10 local time if you are at the Newbury track tomorrow. If so, hey, do us some favors. If you're at a track tomorrow or any place on the planet, no matter where you are, send us some photos. If you're at a track tomorrow, you can send them to me at HRT Rich, DM me on Twitter, or you can send them over to our Facebook page. Our good friend Sean would love to post some of your photography over on our website, and we'll give you credit and all that kind of stuff. And you want to put a little 2-paragraph sentence about what it's all about, we'll do that too. But this one's 6 furlongs. It's no need for them to tell me if it's straight or not, because what in the hell just happened there, Thomas? But there is a need. Apparently,
you went sideways.
I got a little too excited because I finally knew how it worked. But here is it the 6? All right, is it the 6 furlong, 110-yard version?
Yeah, you have to go back and look at the condition where it's supposed to go. But my guess is it usually goes to that shorter.
So the 6 foot 8 yards,
yeah,
versus the 6 foot 110 yards.
Now they want to make it closer to 6.5 furlongs.
Yes, just to confuse the hell out of us. But anyway,
they're going to do a good job.
Yes, well, it doesn't take much, really. A little bit of blowing the wind a little bit, just to confuse me by counting at the same time I'm counting, and that's all it takes. So to go through the slight undulations, they'll probably split up, Tom, but you mentioned the near side's doing better today. So did you factor that into your picks, and who did you pick?
I did factor into my picks, and I started with number 2 significantly. Let's draw 2.
I got bad news for you.
Oh, it's stout. Okay.
Yes, significantly.
I did not get that one.
It's a significant race change.
Yeah.
All right. So which one did you get?
Number 6. Wiltshire with draw 7. Last 2 races he's winning, and by slim margins, but he's winning. These were class 3s, so he's going to move up a little bit today. He only has 1 win on the turf, which is a little suspicious, but that was in his last race. So that move may be the right place for him to be, because he's been hanging tough in all his races, and the odds reflect that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I had him. I have him second, but now I'm going to put him first. And number 10, United Approach with draw 11 is going to be my next choice. He's a really interesting horse because he's got 2 starts in 2022 with a win and a 5th. He started once in 2023 and he won at Doncaster. So what do you think will happen today? I mean, they're having serious problems with this horse, or they are really, really cautious and pick the right spots. I don't know. But that was, I mean, the odds are not crazy.
6 to 1.
That tells me other people are looking the same way I'm looking at the race. I mean, yes, he moves up, and he, I don't know what to make of it, to be honest. But one tell should be Jamie Spencer's up.
Mm-hmm.
And that now seems to be Wesley Ward's go-to jockey in Europe. And he is a good jockey. There's no question.
He's not taking Irad over there anymore. Yeah. So Race Masters wants some clarification. So near side, Tom, is that post 1?
Far side.
Far side.
Yeah. 1.
So the far side would be the outside horses?
Mm-hmm.
So
Far
post.
side would be the one post position 1 will be on the far side.
Okay, so far side means 1 through 6.
And it varies track to track. So Newbury is that way, but everybody's a little different.
So you want the far side horses again, just to be
well,
clear?
if you go up to the on the conditions here on the right side, you'll see where they're going to set the stalls
in the center.
Yeah, they're going to put them in the center for this race. So take a look at that. That'll give you some idea too. Obviously, when you have a 25 horse field, it basically covers the entire track, and that makes it where that split comes up and all that other good things. Here, I think they're going to be splitting a little bit based on the way that looks, and predictor should be fun to look at too.
Yeah, when we get to the predictor. So the far side,
your picks first.
Yes, indeed. The far side then would be horses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Right.
In this case, okay, and the far side is where the better performance has been today.
Yeah, in the sprint, it was the near side.
So on the sprints,
the far side has been doing a little better for the distance race, so the 1.5 miles and the 1.25 miles type stuff.
Okay, so we got that squared away. All right, let's talk about my picks and see if I can square this away. I'm going to go with the 1 horse, the 6. So he's in the middle. I don't have to worry about near or far there. William Twee. I think this horse will show more stamina today than it did in its last race. It's one of my favorite kind of horses to bet on. I'm going to get decent odds, 9-1. Looks like the bettors are bringing it down from the opening line of 12-1. This horse has run 4 times at the distance. He either wins or runs off the board. 2 wins, so 50% of the time he wins, 50% of the time he doesn't. 50% should be 1-1 odds, Tom. But I'm getting 9-1. I'm getting 9 times what I should get for the all or nothing type. Under the Twilight is next for me. What am I doing today with all these long shot horses? This one has a chance.
You want to make some money or you want to lose some money?
Yeah, I think I want to make money, so we'll go with that approach.
Ideally,
yeah, it's the game plan. It doesn't, I like Steinbeck.
Always work out, but we're going to give it a shot.
The best play, was Steinbeck, right? The best laid plans of mice and men. It's probably the only literature reference I can make, folks. So just timestamp that one. But this horse does have a 3rd at Newbury, so he's proven that he can go across that course. Likes this distance, so he 5 times out, a couple of wins. And another horse that I think its record says second time after the layoff should be better than the first time. United Approach, one that Thomas and I agree on, although the odds are going the wrong way on this one. This one is a straight wild card after more than a year off, but the horse was just the length away from its 3 races before heading to the sidelines for an extended rest from being undefeated. So maybe if the horse comes firing off like he did in his first 3 races, 6-1 again, might be more than you'll see on this horse for some time to come. Although I am a bit concerned that the opening odds opened up at 9-2, and the bettors really haven't kept them at that level. It's kind of risen a little bit. So maybe the work that they're seeing on the prep is not quite what they hoped to see. And then the horse right next to him, Woolhampton, is next for me. I feel like you got to give this one a shot, Tom, because he's carrying 7 pounds less today. And this one has also had his best success at Newbury, 5 times out with a couple of seconds and a 3rd. He's even getting a tip over here, Tom. I don't know what the tip is, but he is getting one.
Well, in our case, it's don't play the horses we picked.
Well, that was certainly that way last Friday.
Yeah.
And yeah. So hopefully, that was the first time though, in probably around 7 weeks, where we were just completely ice cold.
Oh,
that usually doesn't happen.
No.
I don't know if the codes are the same, but in UK, I agree with Tom. The 10 horse in race number 5. Yeah, the codes are the same. I'll shut up. You don't have to shut up for the rest of the day, Race Master. No, we encourage the comments over in the comment section.
We want the comments.
Yeah, so if you have anything
with you, and we want the questions too, because endeavor to answer them as best we can, or we're going to do a little homework to make. And if you tune in again, we will talk about that.
That's a big ask for me to remember what something that happened yesterday. All right, let's see what happens with the predictor.
Quick note and move on.
It'll be up to you, Thomas. Well, that one looks like it's a runaway winner right there. Gisburn, and that's not a name I remember either one of us saying.
Nope,
Thomas.
neither of us had that. And
Do we have any of the horses in here? I don't know that we have.
I have the bottom one.
You have Wilshire. That's it.
My top choice.
No.
And yeah, I mean, it actually looks like the race that I thought it would be, because I think it's pretty wide open, and I'm a little surprised at some of the shorter odds.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm me and the predictor. We're not friends. We weren't friends last week either. So the predictor got me last week. Hopefully, I get the better of the predictor this week. The last race you and I are going to cover this week is race number, I think, 5 on the card. Or is
No,
race
it's
number 6. Race number 6. I have one more banner to click. All right, race number 6. I confused myself with my own banners. Again,
it worked.
I'm taking my fresh knowledge and putting it to good use. 1 mile on the straightaway. We talked about that back here. 1 mile. They're going to start all the way at the back of that chute. Going to go through those slightly undulating hills throughout the straightaway there. Try to make their way. So you want the far side over here. Horses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever. The horses to the left, and they have run a little bit better so far. Tom said, right? Do I got that right, or I got that backwards?
You got that right. They seem to be running on the far side a little better. This isn't, this is a decent sized field, but it's not the max. The max would be 20.
We got 12.
We're only running 12 horses, which is
of those 12
decent sized field.
Yeah, good. I mean, it's like an average afternoon at Parks. So what? Probably not. But who do you got?
Oh, I'm going to start with number 4, Talus Evovier. I don't know.
El Vover. You got to give it like that. You're 20 and you're trying to pretend you know French and you're talking to an attractive young lady at the bar. Evoler.
Cool. Nice draw 4. It's performed well at Class 2 and Class 3 levels, really since January. And then he pulled up in one race, and he was checked, and he had a respiratory nose issue. So you kind of can toss that race, because came back and did well. He's got 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. And initially, I was kind of ignoring him because he ran on the good to soft and did well. But then I saw that Ryan Moore is riding the horse, and he actually rode another horse in this race last time, and now he's switched to this one. Ryan Moore at 10-1. You got to think about that. I'm sorry. That's in any race you got to think about Ryan Moore to begin with. But yeah, I mean, this is his last ride of the day, so I put him on top. Number 6, Slip of the Pen. We draw 12. After winning twice, then he ran third in a listed race. His last race was, well, not much. It was at Newmark. But one thing I considered there in watching that race is that he ran on the far side with a group that really didn't do much of anything in that race. It was the near sides horses that were the ones that were the winners. I'm going to excuse that race because he's done well in the back end, and odds kind of reflect that somebody likes him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm got him for second. And finally, I'm going to take Good Winsome. Withdraw 10 is my final choice. He ran second last time out to one of the horses in this race, which is interesting. And one thing that I think cost him the race was he didn't get out of the gate really cleanly. And that's got to be, he lost by half a length. Could that be the half a length?
Could be.
Possibly. He's only a maiden winner in his 4-race career. But I'm going to excuse those all-weather races because he doesn't seem to particularly like the all-weather. Okay, he's a second up here. Bettors kind of like him, so maybe something there.
I'm going to go with number 7, Metal Merchant. He is going to be better, or it looks the same in the second start of the year. That's what the resume, that's what the CV says. And last time out, he won. I think that's the horse you were referring to over Godwinson. I'm going to go with number 11, Too Tempting. 14-1, Tom, staying with my theme today of prices. Runs well on good footing, this horse. He should get that tomorrow. It is the classic, as I mentioned, third start after layoff. It's probably the first one, the handicapping angle most people learn. And at a mile, he's been consistent. Probably not a winner, but one that likes to hang at the end. 9 times out. Does have a W. 4 seconds, though. So I've said, well, he likes second. We'll put him in second. And he does have a third. Number 12 to its outside is Alto. Another one. That one's 12-1 in here. Last time out, this guy had some in-race issues and still managed to finish second. And when you look at this horse's limited career, is another one that spends some time going back and forth between all-weather and the turf. On the turf 3 times, and 2 of those 3 efforts were probably good enough to beat this group. And then the horse that you mentioned, Tom, Godwinson, is my final selection in here. Best race, and it wasn't even close relative to its others. It's the only other time that this horse had a second start after a layoff. Looks like the bettors think that that might be the cycle for this guy, as he is one of the favorites. And that's why I'm putting that horse in there in my 4th spot, although he did lose to Metal Merchant last time out. Let's see if the predictor predicts a change in order for those 2. This is going to be a really tight race down the stretch. And once again, a name that we didn't mention. You don't have Tempest, do you?
No, I do not.
28-1. Boy, the predictor is just going with prices today. It should be the price predictor. 28.
These are crazy.
Yeah, well, hell, maybe you should just take all these horses, box them up, and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
You might have a huge day over there. All right, well, that wraps it up for us this week.
Let's do the last race. We got to run the predictor on the last race.
All right, let's predictor the last
race. We didn't
race.
do it doesn't mean we can't run the predictor.
Yeah, well, they did. I'm sure they did the algorithm for that guy. So that's the Haras du Pocat Fillies Trial Stakes.
And it is a listed race, so it's Class 1.
Let's see who's going to get the job done in this one. Oh, this is just a blowout win for Ciola. Do you have that one in your picks?
That's my top choice.
Diamond Rain and our golden one, and then a pretty big gap back to the next group of horses in that.
Diamond Rain is my second choice.
And you'll know all about Tom's second and third choices, as well as my first, second, third, and fourth choices. I will put all of our notes from the discussion that we had today, along with the video, some past performances that are available online for free, the track map, and all that will be available over at horseracingtoday.net. Again, remember, if you're playing the Preakness tomorrow or the Black-Eyed Susan today, kindly use the link in the description below to head on over to Guaranteed Tip Sheet. You'll get all of that along with our wagering guide if you're a pro member. A lot of work goes into this. You can see, look at that, Tom, all of that good stuff there. So just a little sneak preview. Race number 8, Intrepid Dream, getting the top call for us. Find out who we like all across the board at Pimlico today and tomorrow. That wraps it up for you and I on this Foreign Friday, Tom. Where in the world will we be next week?
We're going to be in Ireland at the Curragh. And we'll probably be looking at both Saturday and Sunday racing.
Wow.
Bonus. Some of their bigger races are coming up, and that's important because they generally ship horses around the world too that do pretty well.
Yeah, one of the things I look for, like in the breeding of the horses in the United States, I like to see the Irish breeding in there because those horses tend to do pretty good on the turf over here.
Yeah, and we're finding a little bit on the all weather. There's only one all-weather track in Ireland.
All right, well, we'll look at that as well. All right, that wraps it up for today. I will be back with Terrific Terry as normal on Monday and Tuesday. Yeah, Tom's happy to get away from parks. He's like what?
Well, I can't complain
What is
about Monday.
this?
I can complain about Tuesday because I ran second too many goddamn times.
Well, that happens sometimes. It's happened. Yeah, I hate when that happens too. Anyway, Thomas, you and I are second to none when it comes to Foreign Fridays and international picks. So make sure you tell your friends about us. You see all the links to our social sites down below. If you're watching on Twitter, kindly follow us there. If you're watching on Facebook, kind of follow us there. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. Please share our content with all your friends and family. Of course, as I mentioned, Royal Ascot a month away. You're going to want to make sure you don't miss Tom and I for that. It's a tough week, but inevitably one of us has a really good day. So if Tom's good day is on Tuesday and mine is on Thursday, usually one good day there pays for the whole week, so you won't want to miss that. Of course, we have the Belmont Stakes coming up in 3 weeks at Saratoga because they run the Big A or whatever it's called, Belmont at the Big A. But then when it's time for the Belmont Stakes, they say, we're going to go to Saratoga.
Yeah, and also keep in mind that's a 1.25 mile race this year.
Mm-hmm. So it's a big difference. Next year, I think they're supposed to be open and run the Belmont, but we'll see.
No, they're not.
I read 2025, Tom, somewhere.
My understanding is one more year up at Saratoga.
Is that one more year? I did read that they plan on opening up in 2025, but maybe that's since changed. Anyhow, it won't change that. We'll do the Current next week.
My understanding is that, and also keep in mind, it's sold out that week. I mean, there's some other days, but the Belmont Day is sold out up Saratoga.
At Saratoga?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of days sold out there, like Travers.
Not a surprise, but
yeah, no,
it is sold out.
It's a nice place if you haven't been there before. It's kind of like we went there with Tom and Terry a couple years ago, got COVID. That's about that. I didn't win any races. I kept finishing second there and got COVID. So it was a hell of a trip for me. But meeting Tom and Terry, it was wonderful. The time is a nice, quaint town. And it's sort of everybody's dressed nice at the track. The ladies, the men, it's not people, not too many people in sweatshirts and t-shirts, sweatpants and t-shirts there. So nice if you want to go there with the family, a little camping ground for picnics and stuff like that. So if you haven't made the journey to Saratoga and you kind of want a little bit of a taste of going to the track in the 50s and 60s and 70s, maybe that would be a good place to go for a weekend. Tom, wouldn't you agree?
I love it and been there a few times and have done different experiences. So everything from dining there trackside or to sitting out in the lawn out in the back.
Yeah, we sat up there and we did some dining. We were right at the corner there. So I wanted to go down and get the picture of the Clydesdales. And when they came out, for whatever reason, I decided to do something else. Par for the course for me.
You made a little run to the.
No, I went back to where they have the picnics. I don't know why I went back there. I went to go see something. I think maybe we're supposed to go meet Jose Ortiz or something like that. And I just brain cramped and did it when the things came out. But at any rate, all right, Tom.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's how I live. We'll see Tom next Friday. Again, Terry and I next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is Thursday. As always, don't miss anything. Any final words of wisdom, Tom, before you and I part today?
Yes, because like these races and races prior, take a look at these if you get a chance, because if you do want to play Royal Ascot, you are watching horses that will, if they're winning or running well, they're going to show up there in these big fields that may have some indicator to you of who or what may win.
Yes, so you want to look for the ones that pay 150 to 1. No matter if you're scanning for potential bombs at the Ascot, getting yourself prepped for the Black-Eyed Susan this afternoon, the Preakness tomorrow, or getting ready for Parks on Monday and Tuesday. We certainly hope that it all has God's favor, God's blessing. And Thomas, we are overseas, so everything you do ends up in
the winter's enclosure.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us and make it a fantastic weekend.